Pietruk is an international model and winner of Top Model UK 2024. She made a striking return to the runway after a 25-year break. She walked for over 30 designers in major cities like London, Cannes, Rome, Paris and New York. Redefining age and fashion, she showcases elegance with her signature catwalk style. I caught up with Eva for a candid conversation about her personal and professional journey. Hi, Eva. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi. Nice to see you again. Nice to meet you, actually.
So you have a fascinating backstory, and I thought we could start with your early life and what inspired you to pursue modeling.
Oh, yes, right. So when we talk about my modeling inspiration from the childhood, it's a little bit strange story, obviously, because I was growing in a communist back to Poland.
Okay.
And to be honest, I didn't have any inspiration that time from the TV because we didn't have TV. I mean, we did have two
Sure.
programs, but they did not show anything from the Western countries, of course.
Right.
And the only thing what actually inspired me when I was really little, it were the magazines. When
Okay.
my auntie, I was quite lucky enough because my auntie lived in West Germany when they were obviously that rich part of the Germany in that time
Right.
during communism. And my auntie was sending me magazines and
Right.
that colorful, beautiful magazines, like they were fashion magazines, of course. I
Sure.
don't remember the proper name, if that was
Yeah.
Vogue. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was so long time ago.
But I'm
Yeah.
guessing you saw the famous models of that time. So I'm guessing that would have been, was it the clothes that drew you to them? Was it the look that they had? Was it, what was it that sort of drew you to these models?
Right. So basically, let's start from the fact that there was lots of colors in those
Right.
magazines. So when I was growing in a communist country that did not have any colors, everything was either gray or black. So basically, all my childhood was kind of grayish. So
Right.
when you open those magazines, like everything was really colorful, and you see that 80s fashion because I was born in 79. I
Okay.
don't want to hide my age, but I was
Okay.
born then.
Right.
And 80s was the time when I was growing,
Right.
and basically all the models, supermodels from that time, they really made this impact with this beautiful, outfits with these big shoulders, blazers, and these earrings.
I
And
remember the
yeah,
Dynasty, Dallas. I remember that
yeah.
time. So,
And I love Dynasty, by
yeah.
the way, because that was
Okay.
one of the series by the end of 80s, one was so popular in my
Yeah.
country,
Very
and I was
popular.
obsessed
I
about
think
it.
everybody
Yeah.
watched it. Okay. Well, look, you winding the clock slightly forward from that time. What was it like? 'Cause you went into modeling in a big way, but sort of how did that go from, your teenage years into full blown modeling? How did that work?
Well, I did not pursue that career at all. I didn't even think about this as a child. I
Right.
need to be honest, my mom was very driven by different industry. She really wanted me to be more like something to do with politics
Okay.
or marketing and administration. Why? Because as I said, because we are growing in this communist country, we knew that this is like a post-communist thing to
Mhm.
get into, let's say, politics or administration or marketing. That's gonna be
Yeah.
something what's gonna bring me money, especially with
Right.
the growing,
Yeah.
with Poland growing post-communist in the post-communist period.
Yeah.
Therefore, she never pushed me to be an artist, even if I
Right.
was dancing. So I
Yeah.
need to start from that. When I was little, I was dancing a lot,
Okay.
and I was dancing really well. I've got this by the way, I've got this too today,
Right.
and I was dancing on a stage, but my mom also didn't push me to be a
Mhm.
dancer, which I always was like regretting because I'm sure I
Right.
would probably be quite high now. But
So
but as a
you were very creative, and she was like, "No, you need to go down this path
Yeah,
professionally."
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, but I don't blame her. She was thinking about from the side to be able to provide myself
Sure.
in the future and
Sure.
do career, which she always thought she loved she loved modeling. My mom, she was artist itself.
Right.
She loved styling. She was basically a fashion stylist. That's why I've got this, I'm sure I've got this, the all genes from her, this,
Right.
artistic way, creative. But at the same time, she knew that being an artist in Poland or being a model, it's not going to bring you much, from
Sure.
financial side. You're not going to
Sure.
bring you bread to the table. That's what she was
Right.
saying. That was basically, she always knew that this is kind of, you have to be really lucky to be spotted somewhere.
Hmm.
So, like on the street, well, that
Yeah.
was the only way how the models were really spotted that time, because there
Yeah.
was no social media, there was no internet. So basically, that's something like agencies that didn't
Yeah.
really existed. So there were small agencies, and they were spotting models, taking them on a catwalk, like few models I know
Sure.
from Poland, but that was just being lucky. That was literally pure based on luckiness. Therefore, she never pushed me for that. So
Right.
I was spotted once at school because I was
Okay.
tall. I was
Yeah.
always tall.
Yeah.
I was blonde with blue eyes, and
Yeah.
even I never found myself good looking or pretty as a child.
Right.
My mom always called me that I am ugly duck. I mean, in a way, that the older I am, the better I look. But it's true. I need to say that.
Yeah.
But yes, so as I said, like I was tall and blonde, so obviously I caught someone's attention,
Sure.
and I had a couple photo shoots when I was like 15.
Okay.
But it never went any further. That I lost contact with that person or this photographer. As I said,
Right.
completely different times. That was
Of course.
1995 that time,
Wow.
and also it was no industry really for this like big one, and I wasn't interested. But
Yeah.
my mom. So when the communists finished, my mom bought first magazine. What literally, the communists finished in May 1989. I remember
Yes.
that day, even if I was 10 years old that time. My mom started buying the first magazine, looked like Vogue. It's actually
Wow.
today in Poland. It's called Your Style. My mom
Okay.
started buying from the very first issue. And again, I started
Was that
going through the.
for your benefit? Was she buying it for you, or was
No,
she buying it for her?
no, for her, because she loved fashion. My mom, she
Right.
was always in fashion, and
Right.
she started working that time as well as a optician
Okay.
stylist. So she was styling. So she was basically, selling glasses frames,
Right.
but
Yeah.
she was working on the whole creativity. It wasn't like just selling, going to spec. Sorry, I don't want to tell you the names of the brands, but
No.
it was
No.
just really pure styling. Yeah.
Sure.
So my mom was always styling, and she was very, very like always admired by people, like saying, oh my
Right.
gosh, she's so dressed, she was dressed amazing. So she
Yeah.
started buying these magazines because this western fashion, and
Sure.
basically all this western wave started coming to Poland. So she was buying that, and I was
Right.
obviously going through, and that was the era when actually 90s started, because as I said, that was the end
Yeah.
of 1989 when the first magazine came up, Polish magazine, and
Yeah.
then 90s era started. And you know what's the 90s era in fashion? I think there was no better era than 90s. They're
It
all the
was a good
supermodels.
era. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. It
I need
was
to
an
say
era
it,
for supermodels, I think. Yeah.
that was the era for the real supermodels. And that was a time when I was very, very into it. And I
Right.
was looking and watching and following these trends. And I was always good with styling as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've got this from my mom. And when I was actually, I remember when I was 21, there was a time when I said, okay, that was already, there was 2000, I think.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, that's been already 10-year post-communist period, and
Yeah.
more agencies started opening up. And I remember
Okay.
I went to this agency I found in my city, Wrocław in Poland,
Uh-huh.
and I signed up for it. And it was going good to
Uh-huh.
start with, but then I was very pushed away from that industry, unfortunately.
Oh
So,
no.
and I
Yeah.
finished. So I've done a few photo shoots. I've done a couple of catwalks, and I knew
Right.
I loved catwalk that time.
Yeah.
But then obviously my direction completely
Changed.
changed. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah.
Because you got a break after the age of 25 or something like that. I read somewhere that that after a 25-year break, you came back in. So I'm just curious as to why you decided to turn your back on the past and then re-enter something you've left behind.
Yeah, that's, you know what? even 15 years ago, I would never think about this because 15 years ago, you wouldn't imagine to have like 46-year-old model on the catwalk. That was
No.
like not
Yeah.
exactly. And but you know what? Like I always had this inside me. And even if my life in UK, it was very difficult. I need to say I left by myself. I left my daughter behind for a few
Right.
years. It was very struggle, lots of mental struggle and
Sure.
physical struggle. I had to have few jobs. Then my daughter joined me 5 years later.
Wow.
So I never even was thinking about like or modeling. I said, no
Yeah.
way, that's never gonna happen. But always I love dancing. And every time people, when I was walking somewhere, people
Uh-huh.
say to me, oh, you walk like a model. Like
Yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
it was always about my catwalk for some reason, walk.
Well,
And then
I've seen you actually walks for a fashion show, and yeah, I can definitely back that up. That it was quite you've got a very unique style and a very unique way of walking that, quite frankly, does sort of push you to the, gets you the attention, I think.
yes, definitely. And thank you so much for what you're saying. I appreciate that a lot. And I need to say that happens too today. I got so many amazing feedback, especially recently after the shows and like from you that I'm overwhelmed with that. And trust me, I feel so emotional when the people say me this, but because I am the person who is very modest
Yeah.
inside me and I'm
Yeah.
self-sabotaging myself a lot. And even if everyone thinks I'm so confident and I'm so
Sure.
successful, behind the door is a little bit different. So hearing that responses from like you, it's so
Right.
rewarding. And that time there was like as well when I was listening that people were saying, "Oh, you've got that walk."
Yeah.
And you know, we're coming back to the subject. So I remember like a few years ago, I saw the supermodels coming back
Yeah.
to the catwalk because you know you could start seeing this diversity
Sure.
in modeling and I remember I saw Naomi Campbell coming back, Shalom Harlow,
Yeah.
Kate Moss. I was like, oh my god, like I think that was Versace what he brought
Yeah.
first, those
Yeah.
supermodels with Claudia Schiffer, which I loved her when I was young.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I was like, oh my god, there's something definitely changing.
Yes.
And then I've noticed those people, also women, they don't need to be super skinny, like
Yeah.
anorectic. They have a different type of bodies.
Yeah.
Are even disabled. They have a different, obviously, skin color,
Sure.
which was the problem in the 90s as well.
Yeah.
And Naomi Campbell being rejected a few times because they didn't want to
Yeah.
have a black person, which is now is completely opposite. Those Afro-American models, they look
Sure.
just like icons. They're stunning. So
Yeah.
it was different obviously times, but then I started seeing them back and I was like thinking, maybe I'll try, maybe because everyone is always thinking about my catwalk and selling this.
Sure.
why
Yeah.
why I said nothing is gonna hurt me if I will decide to come back, and maybe I just go into this niche because a few years ago there was still kind of like a niche that
Yes.
you wouldn't see many diverse models on a
No,
catwalk
but
yet.
I think in a way you have carved out a brand. Notably, you've carved out something. Your walk is your brand, kind of thing. So yeah, I think that you could re-enter very easily. To be honest, I attend a lot of these fashion shows, and I can tell you that you are quite unique. So I think it's a bit of a
Thank you.
brand. Yeah, a bit of a brand. Okay, let's talk about the preparation for the comeback into the fashion industry. For those in the audience who are listening in, how did you get back in? Did you just you said the agents didn't exist before. Does that mean you've got an agent now? How did you get back in?
Yes, I mean, I have got an agent now,
Right.
just one. I'm gonna start looking for bigger, and he knows about this. He's a brilliant agent.
Sure.
Although when I started thinking about this, and that was actually that was 2024.
Right.
I started preparing for this physically because I need to be honest, and I'm always telling to everyone that I was a little bit overweight recently because my
Right.
life was very comfortable with
Yeah.
my partner. So I was looking the house, my partner is working so hard. So I
Sure.
was like kind of housewife. So
Yeah.
I was cooking. And so I decided one day that when I saw, oh my God, I really want to try to come back, but come on, I put a little bit too much weight
Sure.
on. What it didn't really suit me because some women look
Sure.
beautiful. For
Sure.
me, no. So
Right.
I started obviously first like year of exercising, dieting, fasting, and
Wow.
losing this weight, exercising a lot,
Mhm.
meditating. I went, definitely I changed my lifestyle for the last few years. And that was the
Right.
first preparation, I need to say.
Uh-huh.
And then I decided, of course, I know if I want to join any industry or any fashion brands and work for this industry, I need to start working on my portfolio.
Yeah.
And this is the first thing you need to do. And if you are starting model, unfortunately or fortunately, you need to invest your time and you need to invest some money as well, because you can obviously find photographers who are doing this for free. I
Yeah.
mean, you
Sure.
collaborate, so you're
Sure.
doing. They want models as well,
Yes.
but there are some photographers who are extremely good, and you need to pay, which happened to me when I even paid
Right.
last year to one studio shoot because the girl was amazing, and I said I
Yeah.
want that photos, and those photos definitely shifted my career as well. So you
Right.
need to invest this time, so and money, and this
That's
is not only
interesting.
about.
That's
Yeah,
interesting because what you're saying is you get what you pay for.
it's true. It's true,
Yeah.
but you need to invest more.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like you're investing a lot,
Sure.
but then are you gonna get this back? Not probably everyone as well. So is investing into modeling is not only investing in portfolio, which I started, is also investing in yourself,
Right.
especially in my age, because it's and you can get it from every single supermodel, and every single supermodel I'm sure is going to say the same stories because I've seen similar. So it's investing in your physical appearance, so it's investing in
Right.
a good food, in
Yeah.
a proper, let's say, training in a
Sure.
gym, and
Sure.
also lots of like skincare and other things what they have to keep, they have to make you
Sure.
look fresh, younger in my actually my age, etc., etc. So it's
Yeah.
a lots of investment. As I said, both financial
Sure.
and your time. But that's why I was preparing. I
Yeah.
decided I am gonna look after myself. I'm very lucky and I'm very grateful to my partner because
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
been a few years together and we live together, and because of his help I could actually
Sure.
do my career, and I'm so grateful to him. It was easier for me that time because of this, that
Sure.
definitely.
You mentioned
So
you mentioned that your daughter came across and it was very tough for you and she came across and now
yeah.
kind of the wheels of history return and I'm just wondering if what she thinks of Mum the model. Is she looking at you going, "Don't do it," or is she looking at you going, "This is great"? What is,
Um, I mean, I need to be honest, we don't have a good relation at the moment.
right?
We argue a lot.
Right.
So
That's
yeah,
that's
we
that's with everyone. That's everyone. Yeah.
I know. When I speak to moms, they say the same. So, but I'm sure she supports me, and she's very well. Every time when I tell her, "Oh, Nadia, this and this happened," because her name
Sure.
is Nadia, so
Sure.
she's always like, "No way! Oh, wow!"
Yeah.
She came when I had my first fashion show last year in February
Hmm.
24. Her and my partner, they came together to watch me,
Wow.
and even she recorded video, and on the video I can hear when I actually started walking on the catwalk, she said no way. I could hear that because she was so happy.
That's
So
lovely. That's
yeah, she
lovely.
definitely supports me, even with herself, even if we have this temporary
Sure.
problem together. I'm sure she 100% supports me, and I'm sure she is my fan. Oh no,
Of
maybe
course.
silently.
Of course. Right. Well, I'm gonna move on slightly to your time walking for designers because you've walked for a few, and in
Yeah.
your bio, you've walked in many major cities. So, out of all of that, what was your most memorable moment as a model?
Oh, there was a few, like when I go back, I try to go back as well. Yesterday I was thinking about my designers. Actually, I
Right.
counted them. Now it's 42,
Wow.
43 even.
Wow.
Yes. Because I had few more, and actually I didn't update that. So,
Right.
I was thinking about those memorable moments. There was definitely a few. For example, I remember in Cannes, there was a great show, but very unfortunate. It was a little bit disorganized. But I remember it was Shake there, and I was walking
Right.
in the front of the like a big. It was a prince of something. I
Wow.
don't remember what country. I'm sorry to
Yeah.
everyone,
Wow.
forgive me, but that was for me like a kind of I felt, wow,
Yeah.
I'm walking in the front of the very important person.
Yeah. Wow.
But yes, so but that was as well. I remember I really like. couple of shows. Like this year, I had an amazing show in Paris as well. So
Right.
what was
Right.
memorable for me was, first of all, that I was in Paris and I finally could go a little bit further than only, for example, London Fashion Week, because
Sure.
that was on schedule, on Paris Fashion Week schedule show.
Yes. Yes.
And I was working for amazing brand Max Salzac, and I think I can share that. And the hair and makeup was absolutely astonishing.
Wow.
My hair looked so crazy, but I looked so great. And this actually picture turned up in a Vogue magazine.
Wow.
So yes, so I'm proud because this, and
Yeah,
obviously I'm
that's a
gonna remember that
pinnacle. Yeah, you're going to remember that forever. That's
forever.
yeah.
But there was one show when actually one mistake happened as well. So there is a memorable from the bad side, maybe, when I
Okay.
went
Yeah,
to
yeah.
New
It's all
York.
a
This
learning
is
curve.
It is, especially for people who are actually, dressing me up.
Sure.
Could you imagine there was one brand, there was a big brand of designer who's creating dresses for the Miss Universe. So the
Wow.
dresses are absolutely stunning, and
Wow.
I have been chosen to work for him in New York, which I was obviously very proud because the designer is
Sure.
huge, and and could you believe that's funny story? I when they were dressing me up, they were trying fitting different dresses,
Sure.
and and they gave me one dress, gold, beautiful, and I felt like, wow, this is the dress for me. I felt
Yeah.
so great. They
Yeah.
started recording me, like asking, doing interviews. That I came from London special for this designer to work for him. Could you believe what happened? They mistaken. They gave me the dress of one of the models. One of the models brought the dress just to wear it on the after party.
Oh
And
no.
she hung it. She should not do it, but she hung
Oh
it in the
no.
room when was the designer, because this designer is so big, they had
Oh
only
my God.
room for themselves. Like, and they dressed me up in completely different designer dress. And you know what? And they said, everyone said, you smashed it. Literally, like next day in the morning,
Oh my
like
God.
photographers from the show started showing the photos. I was the first because they said it was the most beautiful dress. I looked the most beautiful. I made the best walk. That's what they said.
Sure.
And everywhere my photos. But then they told me, literally after the show, the one of the stylists who was styling me, he actually started laughing. He said, "I'm so sorry, but this is not the designer dress." So obviously, I got so down because I said, they're not going to show me anywhere because the
Yeah.
dress
Yeah.
doesn't belong to them. So, well, that was memorable because I remember that. We
That's
tried
a
to even
funny
contact
story.
the. It's a funny story. I was
Yeah.
upset. I was upset at the time, to be honest, because as I said, I'm not on the official website now or Instagram for the
Oh no.
designer.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. So, but well,
Well, it's something that you're going to remember forever. Look,
definitely.
I'm you've done such a lot in your career. I love your backstory. You know, this little girl looking at magazines, dreaming of becoming a model, and fulfilling that dream is just amazing. You must feel like $1 million when you stand on these stages and you portray this international model image.
Yeah.
Back thinking about this little girl looking at magazines. Amazing. Love the backstory. But what kind of advice would you give today? I mean, if you had to go back in time and you had to speak to the little girl who was looking at the magazines, what kind of advice would you tell that little girl, the little version of yourself?
Hmm. I think number one, what I can say, and I always say to everyone, it's in fashion or not in fashion, is just follow your passion.
Right.
Because, I think like people forget about the passion in their life. I know many people have struggled financially,
Mhm.
and especially in those really hard times, which now in Europe, everywhere actually. So I know
Everywhere.
people,
Hmm.
yeah, people forget that actually they have a passion. So
Sure.
but if they really, I listen to so many coaches as well, like life coaches, and I'm like taking what they say, that if you follow your passion and you work really hard and you are patient, because this is another thing.
Yeah.
What I want to say? Be patient. Then one day, I'm sure, one day you achieve your dream, and that is my first advice. Like never, never, never lose your passion and never give up, because trust me, I could give up many times,
Sure.
and it's like sometimes it's so hard. And as soon as the people think I'm very, very successful supermodel and stuff, that's how they call me. The
Right.
truth behind that is a little bit different, because as I
Right.
said, I tried so hard, and I don't get back as much as people think I do. And even
Right.
if I'm so popular and everywhere and on the magazines, thanks to you as well. Thank you so much.
You on the
And
cover of the networking magazine.
I
Amazing for
am,
London
I,
Fashion Day. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm so grateful to it. And when I saw it, I was literally having tears again in my eyes. I was so, so grateful. So, but you see, it's like all happens, like so much happens in my life. And I had so many things like that, but still, it's I'm
Sure.
not in the place yet when I want to be, and
Yeah.
I'm quite far from that, to be honest.
Yeah.
So my advice is do not give up on your dreams.
Right.
And and I think working and work hard, because I think as well having a dreams and do not give up on passion, but then do nothing towards that. I'm sorry, but that's not going to
Yeah.
happen. You
Yeah.
need to really work hard and you need to follow your passions and never give up. This is what I think it should be to every girl or man who wants to become successful, not
Sure.
even in the fashion
Yeah.
industry, but
Yeah.
anywhere. Yeah.
Well, look, you touched on the age thing. I hate saying ages, but you brought it up. You said, and
Yeah.
I'm just wondering. I mean, how do you think age is perceived in the fashion world? I mean, I've seen it change dramatically, like you, over the years. Everything used to be, very young and portrayed as a young industry, the kind of young Cindy Crawford, and as you mentioned, all those supermodels. How is it perceived today? I mean, do you identify with your own fan base? Are these, or do you are you attractive to all fan bases or just a particular one?
No, no, I just noticed that's the thing. I have so many fans, and they're young girls, and
Right.
I think they even know how old I am. I mean, before I had this in my bio, it says 45. Now
Sure.
I decided to remove that for some reason because I had
Yeah.
some stories about my age as well. Maybe I can mention later.
Yeah.
But I think I've got literally people who love me, and they say, literally, I'm your fan. They are girls
Right.
who are 20 years old and boys as well,
Yeah.
men, because
Sure.
I've got so many models,
Sure.
male models, where they say you are my inspiration, you are icon, and I can see their comments or even
That's
DMs they
lovely.
keep sending
Yeah.
me. So I think it's nothing about age. Obviously, I know I don't look my age, and everyone says that, and
Yeah.
I think it's kind of genetic thing. My mom, she always looked young as well, and but also is looking after myself
Yeah. Yeah.
regularly. That's why I know I don't look my age. Although I know there is like more models at the moment coming with different ages, like even 60, 70 as well.
Yeah. I've
And
seen. Yeah.
they have so many, like, I think that people like them because they are like silver models and as
Yeah.
well. And that's what brings this as well audience,
Yeah.
younger audience as well.
Yeah.
And it gives that, this diversity. So I
Well,
always,
I mean, from
yeah.
my perspective, you're giving them longevity because we're in an
Oh,
industry where they thought it's all going to end at a certain age.
yes.
You're there at the top, and people are looking and going, I could do this as a career for a long period of time.
Yes, and this is the correct word. Thank
Yeah,
you, because
yeah,
this is long, like, yes, and that's what I want to inspire people with as well. So I'm proving that you can look young, you can look great, feel great
sure.
in that age, and I think I'm, even if I'm 46, I feel still I'm young. But even if I will be past 50, I think I'll be carrying on because I'm the proof
Yeah,
that you can just have a good lifestyle. And good lifestyle doesn't mean you have to have a lots of money. It's just about
sure,
being persistent and doing things for yourself and show up every day for yourself. I'm talking not about work, but about your health.
sure.
So I think I'm that example that actually, yes, like you said, showing that you can do things longer, you can
Yeah,
look better in that age.
yeah,
And that's why I want to be as well inspiration for other women, because women my age very often think that that's the age when basically they can't really start something new, even if they had
mm,
passions from the childhood. And many women had passions and men
sure,
from
sure.
childhood, but they never pursued their dreams just because their life was tough. They had to find work, then they found husband,
Sure.
gave birth. But and now let's say they are 45, 50, and they think, okay, I've got two kids, they're already grown, but now it's too late. And
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
think I
understand that.
want to be this example, and as well as the many other models my age and older, that it's not too late.
Sure,
That doesn't
sure.
mean that if you are almost 50, you're gonna go to premenopause or
Yeah,
menopause, and you have to just stay home and get older and one
yeah,
day pass away. This is, and especially now when the industry is showing that really looking after yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
extend your life, longevity, like you say, is like so a big thing now.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
in
I had a look at your Instagram, before the interview, and I saw pictures from the past, pictures from your present, and it's so nice that you've got such a fulfilled career that even today carries on. And I thought,
yeah,
this is great. You identify with all these different age brackets, and fantastic. It really is, and that's really what this podcast is all about: is giving inspiration to audiences of all ages. So.
absolutely. And
Um,
you know what? Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
sorry,
tell me.
carry
No, no,
on.
no, tell
Oh
me.
no, because it just came to my head something. Last time I got a few messages even from the women from US, and they
Okay.
are like, one is 44, another one is 48. I
Right.
just got back to them, a reply, and they said that I am so inspiration for them. They found me through Reels on Instagram,
Right.
and they checked my profile. Obviously, they followed me, and they said, I want to do like you. I want to be like you, and I want to start modeling career in my
Wow.
age. And there's
Wow.
also 44 and 48. And I was thinking, oh my
Amazing.
God, I
Yeah.
become an inspiration for those women who always wanted to do that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But then they were scared because of this and that. But now they said they're going to start doing it because they saw me as an example and
Yeah.
proof that
Absolutely.
you can do it. So,
I
so
mean,
yeah.
that's interesting. You touched on, through social media, they saw your reels. So I'm going to ask you this question. How important is Instagram to you as a model? Is it the sort of, is it the be all and end all? Is it the kind of holy grail of modeling? Everybody on Instagram seems to be portraying lifestyle, portraying their career. Is it instrumental in what you do?
Well, social media always was for me very important tool, and I think it should be important tool for everyone. Basically, I started as an influencer in 2013. That was the first time when
Right.
I actually launched my account as a Mad Cat Fashion. I was showing first. I was actually fashion blogger. That was called that time. Even influencer. They're calling fashion bloggers
Sure.
because we were doing blogs on online as well on internet. So we were
Right.
showing basically fashion. Um, it was always for me kind of important that I connect with the audience, and I really like to be popular, and I really appreciate it when the people appreciated my styling, etc., etc.
Right.
And but now, even in 21st century, in the 2025 now, I think when all the social media platforms are, they're huge, and
Yep.
like literally everyone is now recording something
Sure.
and trying to sell yourself through social media. I
Yeah.
think I think is a very, very important tool, to keep it as your portfolio and keep
Right.
it as your private life. Which, for example, I've got 3 accounts on
Right.
Instagram. One is
Don't
Madcat
don't t-
Fashion.
don't tell everybody the addresses, the
Oh,
IDs.
oh no, no, no! They are all official because one is
Oh, I
portfolio,
see.
one is
Right.
like my main one, Madcat
Right.
Fashion. But
Okay.
when I put also private pictures, when I put lots of
Sure.
reels from my like catwalk, like
Right.
in the garages or car parks or something like that, and then another one is only portfolio when I've got my pictures separated
Right.
from reels.
Right.
So this is for people if they want to, for example, casting directors or someone brands, they want to check clearly my portfolio from my
Sure.
work.
Sure.
And then the third one I opened up recently is called Mad Runways, and that's I want to show only my catwalk photos
Right.
for that my whole 1.5 year
Yeah.
career.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you see, I invest so much time. I'm doing this unfortunately myself for now, which is very,
Sure.
very, very like time consuming. But I do that because I believe how social media are important to
Yeah.
promote yourself
Yeah.
and building your networking and your audience. And
Can
yeah.
I ask you a question? I mean, obviously, social media is great, but it also brings criticism and negative and sort of judgmental people. How do you handle that? I mean, are you the kind of person that it just bounces off you, or do you take it to heart? Do you go to bed and think, oh, another negative day? I mean, how do you take it? I mean, that's a great piece of advice because a lot of people get criticism.
Yes, and hating internet in 21st century is a big thing.
Yeah.
I even if I don't like myself something, I'm trying to keep my mouth shut and do
Yeah.
not hurt the person.
Sure.
Um, Although I need to be honest, I have never actually met any criticism, to be
Right.
honest, and
Right.
I'm so lucky. I've never got any comments. I mean, no. I would lie here. I
Okay.
did have some comments on one video on YouTube.
Okay.
There was a video went very, very viral. It's like over 4 million views already.
Wow.
Yes, I know. I haven't even checked recent stats because I haven't been there for quite like 2 weeks, but it was like over 4 millions. And people started, and because it went viral, so many people started commenting. And I think YouTube is like different than Instagram. I've noticed that people comment more, and they are sometimes they can be very rude. I've noticed that.
Sure.
So there were some comments that I compare myself to Shalom Hallow because there was a video when I walk similar to Shalom Hallow, and I put this model like next to me, which there wasn't the point of the video. They didn't get that. There was completely different story in the video, but people started like criticizing me.
Right.
Yeah, like saying, "Oh, you can't even walk" or something like this. And I was like, "Who's that?" You know what? But you know how I took it? I took it like smiling to myself and said, "Yeah, and you work. I'm sure you are like a casting director in a Gucci, and you definitely know what you're saying." There were the people who are absolutely not from the fashion industry. They are just random people, like random even men commenting, like being bored and just scrolling through YouTube, thinking of I can give this person bad comments, so she's gonna be unhappy because very often people put their own insecurities and problems into others.
Point.
Because that's true. So, but that's what I'm saying. Those comments I completely ignored, and I was smiling to myself. And on Instagram, I have never received anything back. Although I need to say I am very, very fragile, and I take criticism really bad.
Right.
Because it's same like rejections from castings.
Of course.
I take it personally, and I think like because I'm a very, very ambitious person. I always was as a child. I was always the best student at school. I was the best here, best on the stage, best, like always I tried to be best. Like now I'm trying to be best on the catwalk as well. It's like this ambitious, like,
nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong. Because I'm not arrogant. Because being ambitious doesn't mean you have to be arrogant. So I am ambitious and I'm very professional. And I always, when I take things seriously when I have to do something, therefore, when I get criticism towards me, especially from someone who is not in the industry, who is just like wants to ruin your life, but sometimes I suffer, and it happened to me 2 years ago. Someone was really stalking me on Instagram and sending me bad messages. But it wasn't really about me, about my career. That was about me and my family and my partner. So someone was opening new accounts.
It's horrible.
Really, it was horrible. And trust me, 2 days were like I was just very upset. But that wasn't criticism. That was more harassing me and stalking rather than being criticized. That's different. So. But I need to say I'm not good with dealing with criticism. I always want to be the best. So this is my issue, So I'm learning.
Talking about, being the best, wanting the best. You are a perfectionist. You make no secret about that. What are your future projects? What are your goals? You've gone full circle now. You've got life kind of where you want it. You're back in the scene. You're on social media. You're out there. What's your new goals? Your projects that you're involved with. You can't talk about some things. What about your very future goals? Do you aim to be in acting, for example, or something like that?
Well, there is it on board, but when I look at my vision board, that for this year, for example, / next year, the central thing is the thing that I cannot tell now yet. It's a
top
big
secret.
thing, top secret, but I passed another stage of this top secret thing, and fingers crossed I'm gonna go any further. So then I reveal. So that's number one. But I've got my dreams are basically to be signed for the huge agency, like that huge, that can easily find the jobs for me on the daily basis, and finally my age bracket will be open because. As soon as I've got an amazing agent, I think I don't get at the moment bookings for me, and this is the issue for me because everything what I'm trying to get is being as a freelancer. So but I'm sure if I go to the huge agencies, which is a few in the world and is a few in London,
Sure.
and I will be applying them this year, definitely. That would be my dream, because then I know that my career would really, really shift.
Well, you've got a huge portfolio. There's no reason why not. You've got a huge portfolio. You've walked for so many designers, so there's no reason why not. Yeah.
But they are very fussy, you know. And you sometimes you rely on one person, and one person who is responsible for example, like for head booker, when he's gonna look at your picture, scrolling through hundreds of applications, can say, oh no, sorry, this one is too old, or because you give your age as well, and I know she's too popular face for me, or this and that. So, but I don't lose my belief. So that's my another bigger goal. But you know what? Obviously I want to work for biggest designers, and as I've got like on my vision board, it's funny because I put a picture of model, and then I put my face on the Yves Saint Laurent model.
Wow.
And I put my face like looking that I want to be one day Yves Saint Laurent model, or Mugler, this is my dream as well, brand, or Burberry from UK, which is like, I found it very close to my heart because I feel it's very traditional, beautiful clothes and fashion. So those
well, if any of those designers are listening in to this podcast, then contact us or ever.
Please.
Okay, right. Well, what sort of legacy do you want to leave behind? I mean, is it your look? Is it your style? Is it the way you walk? What's your legacy that you would be remembered for?
My legacy is actually, I think, is more related to that's what I want to do, like an inspiration for women, to make sure they know that they can pursue their dreams at any age. That's what I think. I want people to remember me like as a person who, oh my God, she started that late. She started from scratch. She knew no one in the industry, because that is very important as well. And like, I don't have any background or anyone to help me with my career. It's all just because
you did it yourself.
I did it myself, and I worked literally from the scratch, like I said, from the very photo shoot. So I want to like my legacy in fashion to be like about courage, authenticity, and this change, what I'm trying to pursue, and this change what is happening in the industry now. And I wish I could be this kind of person, like everyone is going to remember she was one of those models in the world when she actually started career that late, and she is the example of that.
Wow.
Because as I said, to be honest, I don't know anyone who started career that age, like personally, or from Instagram. And I spoke to a few people from the fashion industry, and they said, no, they don't know anyone who started so successfully in the age of 45 and going so well and walking on the catwalks with 20-year-old, because that is on the like literally daily basis that I'm usually the oldest model on the catwalk. So that's what I want to be remembered for, that I'm one of the people who want to really change this industry, and remembered for this diversity I try to force into it, and my courage, never give up.
Yeah, well, you're not giving up, and that's sort of, for me, that's you don't give up. Well, look, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today, Eva. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to leave with our listeners?
I just want to say again, please don't ever stop believing in your dreams. The universe is listening, the God is listening, and I'm sure whatever you put your all energy and love and passion into, that's going to happen. So I think it's a general to everyone, not only to people in the fashion industry, and be positive and be kind to others, because that's so important. And I think I find so many people who aren't kind to others, and I think we have to love each other. We have to love each other, and love is the most powerful thing in the world. So this is I think the last thing.
Well said. Well, listen, to the audience who tuned in, thank you so much. And I will put Eva's details for her Instagram in the podcast description box. And this podcast will be available wherever you get your podcasts from. Till next time, bye for now.